Good morning, dear hearts. God is the mind with which I think. God is the mind with which I think. God is the mind with which I think. Lesson 45. Today's lesson is a continuation from yesterday, that God is the light in which I see. It is also bringing us still to this meditation practice, which we're going to be doing more and more. That was laid out for us yesterday, the at least three 5-minute sessions of sinking in to go past the thoughts that we think we are thinking. And we've had that phrase several times, the thoughts I think. Today's lesson really pulls all of that together and gives it, that whole idea, a lot more clarity. Today's idea holds the key to what your real thoughts are. They are nothing that you think, just as nothing that you think you see is related to vision in any way. There is no relationship between what is real and what you think is real. Nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. Nothing that you think you see bears any resemblances to what vision will show you. Lesson 15, and I've been referencing it several times recently because about the light and those glimmerings. Well, the lesson itself is my thoughts are images. My thoughts are images that I have made. I've made them. They are not real. Everything that I think I see, I have made up. And what I think I see is not real. And all of the thoughts that I think I've been thinking, I have made up. And they are not real. We think with the mind of God. I've said this several times, sort of a spoiler alert, that if I'm not thinking with the mind of God, I'm not thinking at all. This lesson is the source for that information. You think with the mind of God, therefore you share your thoughts with Him as He shares His with you. They are the same thoughts because they are thought by the same mind. To share is to make alike or to make one. Nor do the thoughts you think with the mind of God leave your mind, because thoughts do not leave their source. Also, an idea, a central, foundational idea of this course. Thoughts never leave their source. The thoughts that I think with the mind of God stay within the mind of God. The thoughts that I think with the ego brain stay in the ego brain. Therefore, your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. They are in your mind as well, where He is. You are part of His mind. So are your thoughts part of His mind. These last two sentences in paragraph 2 are so important, and they really give us this picture of the closeness that we have. I'm going to read them again, that your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. We abide within the mind of God. They are in your mind as well, where He is, where God is. God is within our mind, and you are part of His mind. So your thoughts are part of His mind. You can draw concentric circles, 2 circles next to each other, and one really should overlap the other. Our mind and God's mind, they are one. There's no separation between them. Where they are your real thoughts. Where then are your real thoughts? Today we will attempt to reach them. Where my real thoughts abide, we'll have to look for them in your mind, because that's where they are. They must still be there, because they cannot leave their source. They've never left their source. And what is thought by the mind of God is eternal, being part of creation. We are part of creation. We are eternal. We have not ever left the mind of God, and God has never left our mind. We are simply a thought within it. And then it says that we have the 3 5-minute periods, and they'll be the same form as yesterday for the meditation, although it did not use that word. We'll attempt to leave the unreal and seek for the real. We will deny the world, this world as we see it, which we've just learned, none of it's real, in favor of the truth. We will not let the thoughts of the world hold us back. Nothing from the ego will not hold us back today. We will not let the beliefs of this world tell us that what God would have us do is impossible. Instead, we will try to understand and to recognize that only what God would have us do is possible, because it is His will, and God's will be done. We'll also try to understand that only what God would have us do is what we want to do. We are in alignment. What God wills for us is what we will for us. There is no separation between what we want and what God wants for us. His will and ours are one. Also a major part of this course. And we'll try to remember that we cannot fail in doing what He would have us do. There is every reason to feel confident we will succeed today. It is the will of God. As I said the other day, this is a guarantee. We have very few guarantees in this world. In fact, none. I can guarantee that the ego will give us pain and suffering. That's a guarantee. But reaching and achieving the goal that God would have us achieve, which is to come home and to understand and realize who we really are, that is a guarantee. And then begin the exercises by repeating the idea and closing your eyes as you do so, and then spend a little bit of time thinking a few relevant thoughts. Again, thoughts that are course related, and again, we'll find out how much of this has already come into our mind and we are remembering and understanding. So after you've had 4 or 5 thoughts, repeat them. Again, repeat the idea for today. God is the mind in which I think. And then tell yourself very gently, my real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them. I would like to find my real thoughts. And then go past all the unreal thoughts, all of the clutter that cover up the truth that's in our mind. Clutter. The next paragraph, paragraph 7, which is beautiful, and yes, I'm going to read it. But clutter we think of as something that piles up on a flat surface, and it does. In just about everybody's home that I know of, unless they're very vigilant for getting rid of junk mail. Things pile up. Books might pile up. Papers pile up. All kinds of things can pile up. Deliveries from Amazon can pile up if you don't tend to them immediately. Well, that's what has happened within our mind. All of the clutter, all of those ego thoughts, all of those thoughts that are images that I have made have piled up and have cluttered and covered up the truth, my real thoughts. And now I want to go past all of the clutter so that I can reach and find the true thoughts, my real thoughts, which are still waiting for me within the mind of God. So under all the senseless thoughts and mad ideas with which you have cluttered up your mind are the thoughts that you thought with God in the beginning. In the beginning, when we first were created, in the beginning, in that moment of creation, the thoughts that we had as the extension from the mind of God, those thoughts are still within us. They are there in your mind now, completely unchanged. They will always be in your mind exactly as they always were. Everything you have thought since then will change, but the foundation on which it rests is wholly changeless. So every thought that I have had in the belief of a separated state, all of those thoughts will change, and that is wonderful news. It is the foundation towards which these exercises for today are directed. Here is your mind joined with the mind of God. Here are your thoughts, one with His. For this kind of practice, only one thing is necessary. Approach it as you would an altar dedicated in heaven to God the Father and God the Son. For such is the place we are trying to reach. We will probably be unable as yet to realize how high we are trying to go. Yet, even with the little understanding that we have already gained, remember our minds are not wholly and completely untrained, that we have gained, you should be able to remind yourself that this is no idle game, but an exercise in holiness and an attempt to reach the kingdom of heaven. The shorter practice periods are simply us repeating this idea as frequently as possible throughout the day. It doesn't give a time. It doesn't say every 10 minutes. But whenever it comes to our mind, remember that God is the mind with which I think. The last sentences of the last paragraph say, stand aside, however briefly, from all the thoughts that are unworthy of Him whose host you are, and thank Him for the thoughts that He is thinking with you. And in yesterday's lesson, it said that if we can stand aside from the ego by ever so little, we will have no difficulty in recognizing that its opposition and its fears are meaningless. So all the opposition, all of the resistance that might come up from the ego means nothing. What is important is that we realize that God is indeed the mind with which we think. So that's it for today. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I don't think I said it. Today in the calendar of days is Valentine's Day. I love a day dedicated to love. Really, every day is. So happy Valentine's Day. So like, share, subscribe, comment, breathe in and release everything, all the cluttered up thoughts, and smile. And please be here tomorrow. Namaste.